Welcome to Category 5 Technology TV, episode number 394 for Tuesday, April the 7th, 2015. I'm Robbie Ferguson.
I'm Hillary Rumble.
So nice to see you. Nice to see you. Thanks for jumping in at the last minute like that.
Here I am.
Here she is. It was Kelsey's night, and Kelsey is learning to do the whole driving thing, which is kind of cool and scary at the same time. So if you're in Barrie, stay away from the sidewalks. Good idea. Tonight, this week, you've been looking at our inbox. We have received so many of your emails this week that we have no choice. We had this spectacular thing planned, and we had to scrunch it up and throw it aside because we've got to go through your questions. That's what we're committed to tonight. So without wasting any time, we're going to jump right into viewer questions with another Viewer Question Extravaganza. Best one ever, though. That's the plan.
Good.
Sasha Dermatis, hey!
Hello! Here's what's coming up in the Category 5.tv newsroom. Researchers said they've uncovered an active campaign that's already stolen more than $1 million using a combination of malware and social engineering. You can now download Android apps and launch them on Windows or Linux PC, Mac, or Chromebook. A Russian coder has revealed how he discovered a way to delete any video on YouTube. Video game streaming pioneer OnLive is to shut down after selling several of its patents to Sony. Mozilla is working on a new feature called tracking protection that is helping users identify and block websites that collect personal data even when do not track is enabled. And an Australian court has ordered internet service providers to hand over details of customers accused of illegally downloading a US movie. Stick around, the full details are coming up later in the show.
This is Category 5 Technology TV. Starring Sasha Dermatis, Hillary Rumble, Krista Wells, Eric Kidd, and your host, Robbie Ferguson.
Welcome to the show. I'm Robbie Ferguson.
And I'm Hillary Rumble.
Well, how you been?
Keeping it real.
Yeah?
You know how I do.
Yeah, we've been busy around here, eh? We got some fun stuff coming up this weekend. We've got something going on. What's happening here at Studio D this weekend?
Well, bringing a group of kids, and we are doing like a film festival workshop. So we're teaching kids how to shoot, just basic like video skills. Shoot, edit, come up with an idea, storyboard, in hopes of then we're going to be making a music video to submit for the Toronto International Deaf Film Festival.
We have some experience doing that kind of stuff.
I know.
Toronto International Deaf Film
Festival.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
So it's going to be
We got a lot of kids coming in?
A good chunk, well, they're always last minute, but I have at least 10 kids confirmed so far.
Great.
So we'll see.
It'll be pretty packed out.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be good.
Very nice.
So, yeah, thanks to Category 5 for lending the awesome studio space.
Isn't that cool that we can do that kind of stuff, folks? That, here we are in the community of Barrie, Ontario, and as a volunteer organization, being able to participate in these kinds of things. And that's probably something that, a lot of these kids are going to remember for the rest of their lives. And it will, maybe some of them will end up getting into video production and things like that. So it's exciting and privileged to be able to be involved in that kind of thing. So very cool. Well, hey, we've got a ton of questions to get through tonight, Hill. So when you're ready, you can just jump into the mailbag. In the meantime, I'll just say shouts out to everybody who's joining us. And I see tons of folks coming into the chat room. And if you're watching on Roku tonight, or if you're catching us live through any of the means of doing that, well, get into the chat room. Great way to get your questions in, and it is a viewer question extravaganza. So
it is.
What you waiting for?
I just wanted to tell you all that Category5.tv is a member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. And you can learn more about that at cat5.tv/TPN. Additionally, we're members of the International Association of Internet Broadcasters. And you can learn more at cat5.tv/IAIB.
Thank you to everybody who has supported Category 5 TV this week through contributions. We appreciate your financial support to help us do what we do here. But also, a lot of people have been using our affiliate links, which you'll find on our website, category5.tv. You go to support us, and you'll see the affiliate links there. Amazon is such a wonderful player as far as supporting the show. I mean, you're going to shop anyways, and a lot of stuff can be bought through Amazon these days. So for those of you who have been using that as a way to support the show, thank you very much. Really interesting to see some of the things. I don't see any personal details of the transactions or anything like that, but we do get a report at the end of the month that shows us what has been purchased through our affiliate links, and it's really interesting to see people buying things like gift cards, which you may want to give anyways, or even to use. I mean, I might buy I use gas as an example because everybody needs petrol for your car, right? So you can buy a gasoline gift card off Amazon, support the show in doing so, and then put it in your gas tank. How cool is that?
Win all around.
Yeah, but thank you everybody for all your help. Expenses have been on the rise here at the studio, and that's largely it's based on growth, I guess, and just the way that things have been going. We've been on a growth trend. We're receiving about 190,000 views per week here at the network, and we're growing. Cool. So that number is increasing, but also we're bringing on more shows. We signed on 2 new shows this week, so it's official. Category 5 TV is now Category 5 TV Network, which has always been a dream of ours to expand in that way. So we're very, very excited about what's to come from Category 5 TV. You'll start to see things rolling out. Roku is going to be one of the first to receive Category 5 TV, as opposed to Category 5 Technology TV, which is a show on Category 5 TV now. So things will be, changing as that progresses, and it's an exciting time. But with that, with everything, bandwidth is a huge expense for us right now. So I'm looking at ways to cut our bandwidth costs as best I can. We're using LTE internet because of where we're located. We have to use cellular towers in order to get our internet connection because fiber is the only fast enough option, and it's through the roof expensive. So so LTE is expensive. As you know, it's very expensive to stream HD video through your cellular connection, but it's still cheaper than fiber. So, but it has been on the rise as well, and so we're looking at different ways to help us keep those costs down, as well as we really appreciate your support in helping us offset those expenses.
Yeah, thank you.
I guess the only change that you're going to notice is that the show, from basically here on in, we're doing an experiment starting with April, where after each episode of Category 5 TV, that episode that you've watched live will be available the following day, as opposed to the same day. And that should actually help us to offset the bandwidth a little bit by spacing it out over 2 days. And actually, I can then take the files with me on a flash drive and upload it through a different connection where it's less expensive. So that's going to make a big difference. I'm sure we'll see after April how it goes. Yeah. So there you have it. Thanks, everybody. Okay.
Wow.
Thank you, everybody in the chat room. Agamotto is asking what kind of broadcast do we have. Well, what we do, we broadcast live in this resolution, which is, I think, 360 or 480p, so that people can watch it on pretty much any connection. You can get it on your Roku, you can get it on your computer, on your phone. But what we're actually doing is we're recording to disk at the same time. So you see in Wirecast the record up there at the top. Check out at the top right, kilobits per second. 57,000 kilobits per second. And so we're actually recording to disk at this huge astronomical bit rate and at 720p. Yeah. So the files after the show are this giant 720p file that we then have to process and then upload to to our various endpoints. So rather than doing that from here through LTE, we're going to take it off-site and do it through a different internet connection, which will be a lot cheaper, but it means taking more time in order to get it to you.
Win some, you lose some, but it's all good. You still get your show. It's all good.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It is all good. One day's not going to kill you. Beauty. Well,
Thanks for your input, Hale. One day's not going to kill you.
no, I know. Okay, it might kill me because I like to watch myself. But they might.
She's like, I got to get home to watch the show that I just produced.
I'm not joking. I'm serious.
All right. Well, I'll get it to you on an SD card. How's that?
I accept.
All right.
Unfortunately, we cannot do that worldwide. Let's get into some viewer questions. Okay,
right.
This inbox is exploding, so we will see how many we can tackle. First question of the evening comes to us from Blythe55. I'm running a new program on Linux Mint 17.1 Cinnamon. It is called View Scan, but I never really installed it like other programs. To start, I have to enter this into the CL, and he lists some stuff I don't understand.
Okay.
Why is this different than installing something like GIMP with an icon in the programs menu, etc.?
Can I look over your shoulder? And
Yeah,
then
can
that
you
way
read
we'll just
this
kind
so
of
you understand
we'll
what I'm trying
translate
to say?
the craziness. Okay. So, want to use View Scan. It's not installed like other programs, so I assume they got a tar file and have just untarred it, which would be like an unzip operation on Windows. So you get a zip file. It has all the files within one file. A tar on Linux is the same thing.
Okay.
Essentially. So when they've extracted it, they've got this folder full of files. Look back at last week's episode number 393. Okay. Because we installed and used a program called Duplicati. And it's similar in that we did it without installing. Okay. So the difference here is that, so view scan, okay, what he's saying is I go in CD view scan, so change directory view scan, so that's where you've extracted it to. Then chmod u plus x view scan, so what you've done there is you've given executable rights to the view scan file. So now it's not just a file that will open up in your text editor. If you run it, it will actually run as a program. Linux is a lot safer than some other operating systems that we won't name, in that in order to run a file as an executable, which means it can do things on your computer, you have to actually give that file permissions to run as an executable. So by chmodding it u plus x, he's made that file view scan executable.
Okay.
So then you type /view scan. This is what I'm seeing in this email. / means run something in the current folder.
Okay.
Okay. And then view scan, there's no spaces there. The view scan being the executable file, which we've already made executable. So the question here, does that make it make a bit more sense?
It's a little bit more clear.
Sasha's
like
shaking her head. No, that doesn't do it? No? Okay.
She's a visual learner.
All right.
You've got to see it.
Words.
Well, okay, basically what we're saying here is this program doesn't need to be compiled. There's no deb package. You're not installing it through Synaptic Package Manager, but that makes me think, is it in apt? Is it in Yum? Is it in Synaptic Package Manager? Maybe that would be a better way to do it, only because then it keeps it up to date. Let's do a really, really quick search. View scan. No, it's not in there in my default repositories. So what you're doing is you're executing a file, a program that does not require installation. You're going into terminal and you're running it. Is it a GUI application? I believe it is. So in that case, you can add it to the menu. It's just that it doesn't do it by default. So let's take a look at how we do that. So I mentioned Duplicati because last week I was using Duplicati, and if I wanted to, I could find the executable. Oh, that's maybe a bad example because of the fact that these are EXEs and I'm using Mono in order to run them. But let's just say, okay, I'm just going to create a quick folder here, test, and in that folder I'm going to just create a fake file called viewscan. All right, we're going to pretend that that's my executable. So what I can do is I can copy. And in Linux, when you copy, what's really, really neat about that, look at what happens if I bring up my text editor and I paste. it has copied the actual location of the file. Okay, so what's cool about that is now I can right-click on my applications menu and go edit menus, and then I can say, okay, where do I want this? It's view scan, so I would assume by the name that that's a graphic utility. I don't really know, but let's say it is. Graphics, now I can go new item, and then I can go, okay, let's call this one view scan, and then the command is, ta-da, I paste it in, right? Oh. Wherever it was located. And then when I hit OK, now I've got view scan on my menu. And what does that mean when I close out of that and I close out of that? If I go applications, graphics, I've got view scan.
Beauty.
See that? So now I've basically circumvented the issue of not having view scan or whatever application is on my menu. So when you get a distributable package, so this package is obviously doesn't require anything special, so they've made it so you can just open it and click on it. And that's kind of nice. Shotcut, that would have been a good example. It's another one where you don't have to install it or anything. Whereas a deb package, which would also represent things like Synaptic Package Manager, apt-get, the installation tools that we can use to install programs on our computer on Linux, those things, they check for dependencies. They automatically install stuff. They automatically put things on the menus. They're more like let's say the setup.exe on Windows. They go through and they set up a bunch of other stuff. So that's the difference.
Okay.
So nothing to be concerned about. Easy to add the menu item. I would just suggest that you put that view scan folder somewhere that makes sense. If you're just a single user environment, you're the only one who needs to use it, you could, for example, make a folder called Programs in your home folder and drop it into there and then create that shortcut so that it's always there. If it's on your desktop or something, then it's going to, maybe you'd eventually delete it by accident, not realizing it's the whole program. Yeah, that's true. Right? So it just has to do with organization of your file system.
Likely just name it "Do Not Delete This."
Do not delete this, and it's just a folder of everything that you don't want to delete. Yeah.
Don't accidentally delete this folder.
All right. There you have it.
Valid.
So hopefully that helps.
Cool. Thank you.
Makes sense of it. Did it make sense now?
Well.
I can't go into any deeper explanation on that one.
We'll leave that as it is.
All right.
Pressing onward, we have a question coming to us from Whiskey Zero.
Hey, Whiskey Zero.
Saying, hey, Robbie, what is lib-notify client? I saw that on your Twitter page, and I'm so curious. Oh, by the way, good luck with the new Try It, Buy It program. I'll be watching. Pass my regards along to Sasha.
Sure. Okay, so
good
what
luck,
is...
Sasha.
Thank you.
Bon chance.
Bon chance.
Okay, lib-notify client is...
what is that?
Is a notification daemon. Is it a daemon? Yeah, I think so. Anyways, it's a notification system for Linux. And Linux always kind of needed to have a universal notification system that other applications can use to do pop-ups. And lib-notify is one of those solutions.
Okay.
So there are various different ones out there, and that would allow you to create notifications in an application. How does that affect anyone? Okay. So imagine you've got 10 different programs all running on your computer. Let's use an example that's really, really easy for me to create because we need easy tonight because that's where I'm at. Email. You've got an email.
Yes.
And it's minimized, so you're not watching it actively.
Okay.
Wouldn't it be handy if up on the screen would pop up a little notification window that says, you've got mail?
Yes.
Here's who it's from. So lib-notify becomes that engine to allow that email program to send a signal to your screen in a little pop-up window with a little X so that you can close it out. Tooltips, we'll say. Things like that. The programmer can develop into it. Jot uses an application. He's located in the Netherlands. And from the Netherlands, Jot is able to communicate with us as an executive producer of the show. And in so doing, he's able to let us know if a camera is not working or if our microphones are off or something like that, which is very, very handy for us because he can't be here physically. Jot, if you could just be ready for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up Wirecast Cam here, and I want to show you what lib-notify is able to do in an environment like what we do here. Just really, really quickly, I've just got to connect into the camera. Let's see, Wirecast Cam. And it's been a while since we've used the Wirecast Cam.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, 103 is the IP address, and connect. Are we in? We're in.
Oh,
good.
Wow.
Okay.
There we go.
Here we go. Okay.
There we go.
So we're gonna. Do you mind minimizing email?
Do you mind minimizing email?
Hillary's just gonna minimize email because we don't like to expose anything private.
No, we do not.
Okay. That's to respect our viewers.
That's to respect our viewers.
How you doing, man?
Hey, Adam. How you doing, man?
So Jot
so
does the Jotbot, and so we've got Jotbot here in front of me, so that we can see what's going on. So Jot, if you could just signal something, so that we can see what lib-notify does on the co-host system here. This is Hillary's laptop that she uses, and once Jot gives us a signal, I'm making the assumption that Jot is listening right now.
Probably making some food, I bet. At this very moment. Decided to get a snack.
Yeah, okay.
Decided to get a snack.
You're live, Jot.
You're live, Jot.
Compensate for time zone.
Yes, the 30-second delay. That's what we're not taking into account.
That's what we're not taking.
The 30-second delay.
Of course.
Somebody in the chat room, tell Jot. Hey, Jot, come on, man.
Hey, Jot,
say something.
Come on, man.
Am I using Debian?
Yeah, she's on Debian here. XFCE. How do you like that?
Good eye. Good eye.
Very nice.
Good eye.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, and it looks like our sample here. I can load the Jotbot if Jot himself is not actually monitoring Jotbot.
Oh, hokey doodle.
I want to show you what lib-notify is and what it does.
I want to see in action
We could do the news now, and then give Jot a chance to
Somebody lib-notify Jot.
Yes, somebody do that. Come on.
Anybody.
Let's see here if I can log into Jotbot.
Jotbot, oh Jotbot, where are you in the Netherlands?
I'm gonna go knock on his door.
Okay, so I've got Jotbot up on my screen. So this is you see what Jot sees now.
I see that. That's
in
cool.
the Netherlands. That's very cool, isn't it? It's our little secret. You're gonna have to watch the show in order to learn what all this does.
Holy moly.
Okay, so let's switch back to our iPod Touch.
Let's switch back to our.
Okay, so now if I was Jot, do you want to be the camera person?
If I was Jot,
I can handle this job.
So it's going to go into your top. Lib-notify is going to be up in the top right-hand corner here. Okay, so you're set. Okay, so I'm going to say, let's say, great job. Okay, so Jot now has signaled us from the Netherlands, great job. And so her system, within a certain amount of time, is going to say, great job. Now, can you see over here too? So now we've also got a signal over here so that we know, and there are multiple screens around the studio to help us to see what is being communicated to us. So that you saw on the laptop is called lib-notify. It's a system that allowed me to write a simple tool that connects to that database and communicates it to Hillary so that if I'm not paying attention and my microphone is off,
then I'll know. It'll be like, ding, ding, hello.
Yeah. So that's lib-notify.
Very cool.
Now you know. A universal system for notifications.
Turns out Jot had to actually step away for a couple minutes, so he did miss that.
Isn't that unfortunate?
I just got a message from Jot. Oh, it's gone.
Sorry, Jot.
We love you, man. That was wonderful timing. Well, Sasha, Jot. Now we're getting pings.
Now we're getting the messages.
Thanks, man.
Here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to jump over to the newsroom if we may. And,
I'm sorry, I'm unavailable right now.
She's in the Netherlands.
It's Tuesday, April 7th, 2015, and here are the stories we're covering this week. A sophisticated multi-level cyber thievery campaign is underway, which, at its heart, uses malware to trick users into conducting wire transfers through thieves posing as their bank's technical helpline. Google is blurring the lines and making it so Android apps can now be run on any computer, be it Windows, Mac, Linux, or Chromebook. A Russian coder discovered a way to delete every video from YouTube in a matter of moments. Many of OnLive's patents have been sold to Sony, forcing them to shut down. Mozilla is working to put privacy back in the hands of its users with their new tracking protection feature. And internet service providers in Australia have been ordered to hand over personal information about users who downloaded an illegal copy of a U.S. movie. These stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere.
What would you think is a good deal for web hosting? $300?
Maybe.
$400?
I don't know.
7,000 million gajillion dollars?
I know that's not a good deal.
What if you could get web hosting for only $70
That
for an entire year?
sounds actually pretty good.
What if we could throw in a free domain name registration like your own .com?
What?
What if we gave you unlimited email accounts and unlimited storage space for your website?
Sounds pretty good.
You're supposed to say that's not enough, Robbie. What else can you do for me?
Keep giving me more stuff.
Okay, how about unlimited bandwidth?
More.
How about a 50 gig offline offsite backup service?
This is too good to be true.
What? $70. Go to cat5.tv/dreamhost. That's cat5.tv/dreamhost. And when you're checking out, use the coupon code CAT5TV. And you're going to get all that stuff and more. cat5.tv/dreamhost with the coupon code CAT5TV. Back to the newsroom. Here's Sasha.
I'm Sasha Dermatis, and here are the top stories from the Category 5.tv newsroom. Researchers said they've uncovered an active campaign that has already stolen more than $1 million using a combination of malware and social engineering. The Dire Wolf campaign, as it's been dubbed by IBM security researchers, targets businesses that use wire transfers to move large sums of money, even when the transactions are protected with two-factor authentication. The heist starts with a mass emailing that attempts to trick people into installing Dire, a strain of malware that came to light last year. The Dire versions observed by IBM researchers remained undetected by the majority of antivirus products. That's scary. Infected machines then send out mass emails to other people in the victim's address book. Then the malware lies in wait. IBM security intelligence researchers John Kuhn and Lance Mueller explain in their blog post, once the infected victim tries to log into one of the hundreds of bank websites for which the Dire is programmed to monitor, a new screen will appear instead of the corporate banking site. The page will explain the site is experiencing issues and that the victim should call the number provided to get help logging in.
Oh.
As soon as the victim hangs up the phone, the wire transfer is complete. The money starts its journey and bounces from foreign bank to circumvent detection by the bank and law enforcement. The success of the Direwolf campaign underscores the need for improved training so employees can better spot malicious emails and suspicious ruses like the one involving the phone call to the target's banks. This is happening more and more, and it's the scariest thing, especially, I mean, for this, it's large sums of money, but it can happen even with small sums of money. Even my sister's fiance, she's getting married at the end of the summer. He's just finishing up his last year of university, and he got, his university is on strike, or just finished a strike, and he got an email from his university saying, we're going to give you back some of your tuition money because you've missed so many classes. And all we need you to do is let us know where you'd like the money to go and prove that you are who you are. So please give us your social insurance number and your visa number so we can, refund you. So, Robbie, I mean, we've done a lot about phishing. So what do you think?
Oh, that's got to be an inside job because they got to know who's going to that school. They know the story of the strike. That something's going on there that's a little fishy. Ba-dum-bum.
And then this.
Unless?
No, and then this.
Oh, and then. Oh, yeah. And what you're saying now? Okay, so it's basically malware that gets into your computer. We'll call it a virus. And if I go to my online banking, it says, sorry, this site is down. Please call this technical support phone number for service. How many people fall for it and pick up the phone?
Oh, wow, yeah.
And say... so this is a DNS hijacker, I would assume. So when I go to that website, the hijacker then intercepts it and serves up this fake website. check for secure certificates anytime you're looking at a website, because I would assume that you're not getting the secure certificate when you're looking at that.
So how do you check for a secure certificate?
Well, that would be your browser itself. So when I go to online banking, let's bring one up. Name a bank, any bank here in Canada. TD?
Yeah.
So tdcanadatrust.com. So when I go to tdcanadatrust.com, it redirects and blah, 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 you'll see two things. First thing is that the address then skips over to HTTPS. That stands for secure. It has a lock next to it, and that lock means that it is a secure connection, and it says when I hover over it, verified by VeriSign. Single click on that, and it will tell you a little bit more about this particular certificate.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to zoom out a little bit here for you. It will tell me a little bit more about the certificate when I click on it. And it says the connection is secure. All right. Now, more information will tell you a lot more information about who owns this and what. See that? This website does not supply ownership information. So that's just the type of certificate that it is. For some reason, TD doesn't have their name on the certificate. But at least we know that, yes, it is a secure certificate. They're using 128-bit encryption, which is pretty lame if you ask me for a bank. A big bank in Canada is using only 128-bit encryption.
Interesting.
Sorry, my kids' personal websites have 256-bit encryption.
My
Come
mind
on.
is blown right now. I didn't even know that exists. So if you go to a website that's not secure,
Yeah.
it doesn't have the S. Does it have like an unlocked locky thing? Or it just has nothing?
I wonder if I have a sample of something that I can
like what
show
wouldn't
you.
be
So-
secure? Like just a general info?
So
Well, yeah.
in general, everybody should be
Right.
looking to see whether or not that locky thing is there, and then
If you're
clicking.
doing anything that's secure that should be protected behind a secure certificate. So if
Right.
I go, for example, if I skip over to google.com, you'll see it also turns to secure because I'm going to be entering personal information into that. So if I single click on that, it tells me blah, 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 verified by Google Inc. They're making their own certs. That's handy. Oh, this one also doesn't show any owner information. That may be, verified. Oh, no. That may just be that that's what the browser, that's Firefox. And they're also same kind of deal. But so a website that isn't secure, let's say category5.tv. Okay. Notice it did not change to a secure cert.
Right.
Perfect.
And that is because we're not doing any financial transactions or anything like that. But as things change, you can go to, let's say, your website, Sasha, tibby.category5.tv. So try it, buy it. You'll see did turn to a secure certificate, and it's a little bit different, right?
I have a very secure site, right?
You do have a very secure site because as the internet evolves and as things evolve more and more, everything is turning to secure certificate websites so that data cannot be intercepted by, well, it can be intercepted, but it can't be read because it's not plain text, it's encrypted. So it can't be intercepted in a plain text fashion by, I guess, the Snowden thing kind of brought it to light, but NSA, hackers, spies, super duper spies.
So the way this particular virus works to get around that, and the fact that some people might know that, is they get you to call technical help, right?
Yeah,
so
well,
you
they
can
intercept it.
Right, yeah.
They stop it so that you don't actually get to tdcanadatrust.com.
Yeah.
So before I get to this website, I've typed in the website address, but instead of getting this website, I get an error message that says the website's down, call this number for support. I call that number. They know enough about me from the virus to be able to make it convincing. And then they take my banking credentials. Oh, well, what is your login username and password so that I can test it in our system here? Okay, yeah. And as you're doing that, as you're giving it to them, they're logging in on another computer that is getting them to the site and stealing all your funds.
Scary.
Yeah. You can never be too safe.
Never too safe, folks.
Always look for that little locky thing.
The little locky thing.
All right. Google's convergence of Chrome and Android is taking a big step forward this week. After launching a limited app runtime for Chrome, aka Arc, back in September, Google is expanding its beta project to allow Android apps to run on Windows, OS X, and Linux. It's an early experiment designed primarily for developers, but anyone can now download an APK of an existing Android app and launch it on a Windows or Linux PC, Mac, or Chromebook. There are some limitations. By default, only one app can be loaded at a time, and you have to select landscape or portrait layout and whether you want the app to run in phone or tablet style. Developers will need to optimize their apps for Arc, and some Google Play services are now supported right now, making that process a whole lot easier. So that means any of my apps I could run on my laptop, which is Linux, right?
That'd be cool, eh? And I wonder if the convergence will end up being a drive to, the Chromebooks. And I think about how, now you can run your Android apps on those as well. Yeah. That opens up a lot of stuff. Angry Birds, for one.
Oh boy.
Oh
no, but what I'm thinking is things like FL Studio Mobile Edition and the ability to do really cool camera apps and things on other platforms. True. And because it's on Google Chrome and you don't need to have Android, you can do all these things on any kind of computer. Doesn't matter what it's running. That could be really good.
That's great news. Here's interesting news. A Russian coder has revealed how he discovered a way to delete any video on YouTube. A demonstration of the technique was posted online showing that once he had copied a part of the video's web address, he could use it to wipe the clip. Rather than exploit the hack, he instead reported it to Google, who fixed the exploit within hours and gave him a $5,000 reward.
Ew.
While this exploit could have been used to almost instantly purge YouTube of all of its video content, the coder joked that he would have been content just to wipe Justin Bieber's music videos.
Oh, man.
Okay, so I read this story earlier, and the first time I read it, I thought, this is great. The second time I read it through, that's right, I read every news story twice. I thought, $5,000? $5,000 as a reward
Google,
for saving all of YouTube.
The entire
My
YouTube.
goodness.
Like he's holding YouTube hostage, really. Like, I've got this malicious code, but I choose to release it.
Yeah, what are they?
To you. And they say, thank you, here's $5,000. How much money would they have lost in even one day of not being up?
15 minutes.
15.
Think about the monetizing videos and how much money and how much business would be lost and how much response from users there would be if YouTube had all its videos deleted. And the cleanup. Oh my goodness. This is episode number 394 of Category 5 Technology TV. What would it mean to me if I lost 394 episodes of the show?
Right.
Having to upload 394 times 2 gigs per episode.
Yeah, it would cost you more than $5,000 to just
what is Google thinking?
Redo all of that work. Yeah, a bigger thank you, a much bigger thank you.
Much bigger thank you. I think the community could come together and do better than that, giving this guy, a penny each. To say, hey, thanks for...
This guy deserves a huge reward for knowing that, getting it fixed, and not exploiting it. Although what he said about Justin Bieber is not nice, and Justin Bieber most recently was roasted, so he doesn't need any more not nice things. So, I don't know. I just think that they could have done...
Not going to touch it, folks. Not going to go there.
A little bit better.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Video game streaming pioneer OnLive is to shut down after selling several of its patents to Sony. The California-based firm had allowed PC and tablet owners to play console titles, which were run on its computer servers but controlled and viewed in the gamer's home. Sony is expected to use the 140 patents it has acquired to support its own PlayStation Now streaming service. Online was once valued at $1.8 billion, but has not been doing well since 2012 when many of their staff lost their jobs when the company was sold to a venture capital firm after running up about $40 million in debt. While Sony is shutting down OnLive in its current form, cloud gaming is alive and well as Sony works to expand its PlayStation Now service, which debuted last month in the UK, bringing it to more platforms and removing the need to use a gaming console to play your favorite game titles. So, I guess this is just one of those cases where, you know, they'll buy it and they'll turn it into something great. Takes money to make money, and when you're $40 million in debt, I guess you have to sell your
Grab
patents.
those patents while they're hot, and absorb the feature set into your own platform. Makes sense.
Smart move.
Yeah.
I like it. Mozilla is working on a new feature called tracking protection that is helping users identify and block websites that collect personal data despite the fact that the browser has the do not track policy enabled. Browsers have included an incognito feature for years now, and you would think that would be sufficient, but it's not. Some websites still gather information, and that happens even if the user enables the do not track option that are present in most browsers today. In a world concerned very much with privacy, having websites get data from your computer without your consent is a problem, even if it's only cookies or other metadata. Tracking is the collection of a person's browsing data across multiple sites, usually including content. Tracking domains attempt to uniquely identify a person through the use of cookies or other technologies, such as fingerprinting. While Firefox has a do not track feature that tells websites not to monitor your behavior, companies are not required to honor it. Which blows my mind. Firefox's tracking protection feature puts the control back in your hands by actively blocking domains and sites that are known to track users. Tracking protection is a very new feature, and it's only available in the nightly builds of the browser, which means it will take a few months until it reaches the stable branch. I didn't realize, like I just assumed, Robbie, that when you have like the incognito on, or that's it.
Never make this assumption.
That you're incognito.
That now it's safe to send emails with the president's home address,
well,
social insurance number.
It appears that then they can't track you.
No.
So now it's a little bit better?
I think this is where there's a misconception. I think even the President of the United States doesn't quite get that if you have a phone number, you can find the person's name even if it's not on the printout. So if I have your IP address, go to maxmind.com. Blow your mind. Maxmind. That's how we'll remember it, all right?
Catchy little jingle.
Maxmind.com, for example, uses geolocation service. Punch in an IP address. It'll tell you where it is.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Creepy.
But what's crazy about a tracking cookie is, remember we had this discussion, Sasha, a couple weeks back, and you probably remember at home, about that camera that's low resolution in a shopping mall.
Yes.
And they're saying, well, it's safe because it tracks you, but it doesn't know who you are because it's too pixelated. Mm-hmm. But my suggestion was, well, what about the one HD camera at the entrance of the mall that gets a nice 1280 by 720 picture of your face, and then compares that to the low resolution stuff and says, well, it can, we're not actually tracking your face and know exactly who you are. We're tracking you as an anonymous pixelated individual, but we can actually cross-reference that to that first picture. Similarly, if I've got your IP address from this, and this site, and then you log into this site, and that site contains your information. Now I've got something to cross-reference and say, we've been watching you. Now we know who you are. So the information itself, as the president has said, is not personally identifiable. Well, yes, it is if you cross-reference it to other information.
So then, is the damage done now for me? Like, is there any way of going back? Like,
Yes, Sasha, yes. It's too late for you.
I don't even know what to do now. They all know who I am. Okay. An Australian court, speaking of tracking, an Australian court has ordered internet service providers to hand over details of customers accused of illegally downloading a U.S. movie. In a landmark move, the federal court told 6 firms to divulge names and addresses of those who downloaded the Dallas Buyers Club. The case was lodged by the U.S. company that owns the rights to the 2013 movie. The court said the data could only be used to secure compensation for the infringements of copyright. In the case, the applicant said that they had identified 4,726 unique IP addresses from which their film was shared online using BitTorrent. The judgment to release the personal information of the users comes amidst a crackdown by the Australian government on internet piracy. So that's a good movie, firstly. Secondly, 7,000 people doesn't seem like a lot of people, but this is obviously like a sort of...
It's a crackdown, right?
Yeah.
Let's set an example of these people.
I just... the personal information, I realize they're saying it can only be used for, all these...
Sure.
I just don't love it. I mean, I realize piracy is a bad thing, but privacy...
Yeah.
I think trumps that.
You know what's funny about that story coming up after our discussion just 2 minutes ago is that it just goes to show, well, sure, we don't have the information. We have the IP addresses of all these thousands of people, but we don't have their personal information. So
But
you think you're safe, right? But who does? The internet service provider.
Yes.
So let's take them to court and force them to give us that personal information that we can then connect the dots.
I mean, if these people connected the dots, they could get all the information of these people, right? They just wouldn't
Precisely.
have it legally, so they couldn't do anything with it, right? They have to get it they have to force it in a legal way.
Not everyone has to use legal means to get this information, though.
Right. Sometimes at the end of these episodes, I'm scared.
We're like, how well can we creep out Sasha Dermatis
I don't
tonight?
have restful sleeps on Tuesday nights.
Sorry,
that's for sure.
She's going home and deleting all her accounts.
Firstly, I drink like 15 cups of coffee while I'm here, and then I read all of these scary news stories. For all your tech news with a slight Linux bias, visit the Category5.tv newsroom at newsroom.category5.tv. For the Category5.tv newsroom, I'm Sasha Dermatis.
Thank you, Sasha. This is Category 5 Technology TV. Welcome to the show. My name's Robbie Ferguson. You can follow me down there.
Yeah, and I'm Hillary, tuning in as co-host today.
You're on Twitter, too, but we don't have your Twitter there. It's easy.
I seldom use
Hillary
Twitter.
Rumble. Hillary
sometimes
Rumble
I
on
do,
Twitter.
sometimes I don't.
I use it a lot, so follow me instead.
Do it.
I post really interesting things. So, hey, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. If this is your first time here, we love having you here. Please make sure you register on our website, right?
It's the best place to be.
The best place. You heard it here. Category5.tv. Okay, straight back into viewer questions, because that's really all we got time for tonight.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's do it.
All right, let's do this.
Andrew writes to us saying, I'm trying to make a page that
Andrew.
has links on it.
Hi, Andrew.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Get out of my face.
Get out of my
Get out of my
shot.
face. Get out of my space. Get out of my shot.
Right.
So anyway, he's trying to make a page that has links on it. And when the link is clicked, it sets a URL variable called section and then reloads the same page. For example, he lists here index.php would be reloaded with index.php ? sec equals 1 or something like that.
Okay.
Based on the value of the URL variable, the page would then show specific sections of the site and hide others. If a different value is added to the URL variable, say
Whoa. ?
sec equals 2, then a different section would be displayed. I managed to get the test page to display a block of text if there was an entry in the variable. However, when the variable changes or becomes unset, the text does not go away. So he has attached a photo so we can see what this even means.
Very well.
Have you seen the photo?
Well, it's not actually a photo. He actually included a PHP file.
Oh, so
Thanks
he
for
did.
including
You're
that.
right. He
Yeah.
did the file, the actual file.
Okay, so I've got this. Some odd anomalies there. Okay, so let's take a look. So Andrew is working with PHP, trying to get this file to use get variables. And mentioned to me on Twitter, you guys really haven't touched on this on your basic to intermediate PHP.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll definitely go there. So let's take a look at this code that you've created so far, Andrew. And this is how we learn, right? Is playing around. First of all, what's all this garbage at the end here? That's curious. I'm going to delete that, okay? Because that falls outside of the HTML closing braces there, so it doesn't even exist. Okay, so let's look at what you're doing. Okay, taking Andrew and viewers at home who are interested in learning a little bit about coding. This is kind of entry-level stuff, but it's good to learn, and you need to know it. We'll take you through this line by line, okay? So, first we're declaring a doc type, and this doc type is an old doc type. This is HTML4 transitional. This is not HTML5. You might want to look at a new doc type if you want to be HTML5. Okay. So this is the, I don't need to go line by line, literally. Opening the header and closing the header. That's good. Okay, content type, you're using UTF-8 character set, and it is the first thing in your header. That's a good move, because if this were down lower, it would cause the page to reload if the character set was different. That's the title that shows in the title bar of your document. Okay, so we've closed the header, we've opened the body, and we've opened a paragraph that says if the URL variable test. Okay, so open that. So this is PHP if is set $_get. So what that means is if I have set in my browser at the end of the URL $anything, okay, because it's if is set. So maybe not what you're looking for, but it certainly gets the job done. So, so what we're saying is if they have sent some kind of a variable, then do this. All the stuff that not all the way down there. Let's see where it ends. Yeah, all the way down there. So if get is set, so if they've set a variable, let's do all this. So first of all, $sec equals $get sec. So that means that the user has entered, the file.php sec equals, and then we're saying 1 or 2. Okay, so I'm going to use 2 as the example. So that is now $sec. So now we know $sec is valued at 2. If strlen $sec is greater than or equal to 1, then. Okay, so strlen, what do you think that means?
Sterling.
Sterling. Exactly. We're talking about James Starlin today. No, this is string length, okay, is the PHP query here. So if the length of this string is greater than or equal to 1, so basically, hey, we've got a character in there. So $sec has something of value. So it is not null. That's fine. I mean, but where does that fall short? Can you think of it? Based on what I've just said, I know I'm putting you right on the spot.
Sorry,
can you think of it?
Reading the chat room.
And I don't even know what you asked. Okay, Andrew, here's where your script falls short. If strlen $sec is greater than or equal to 1, then, okay, and I know what you're trying to do here. You're trying to say if they had set $sec to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, right? What happens, though, if they set it to 0? Because you are not using the number, you are using the length of the string. So if they enter 0, it's still going to be greater than or equal to 1, as long as it has anything there. If this is equal to b, it is still going to have an strlen of greater than or equal to 1. It's 1, because that's the length. So what you're actually trying to do, from what I'm gathering here, is you're trying to say if strlen is greater than 0. So if my string itself, the value, is greater than 0. For a little bit of safety, you might even say, let's make sure that this is an integer, and add int val to our declaration for $sec. So now, if they put ASDF as the sec equals, then it will just be null. Right? So we're saving ourselves from a little bit of trouble there. We're not getting too big into security. Okay, next line. Echo variable set, and here it is, echo sec. Very good. So that's good. All right. This brace here is from that if. So I would just go like that just to clean that up, so that I have a little bit more clarity as to where things line up. And then if they didn't enter, see, because it's if $sec is greater than 0. No variable set, or invalid variable. not really accurate, right? Because then you've got these if statements down here. So here you go, Andrew. This is what we're going to do. Okay, so if strlen, let's clean this up a little bit. We don't need to close and then reopen PHP in sequence. It's going to look just like that. So if string length of $sec is hold on, equals, well, that is, you're making a declaration to create a value as opposed to asking it what the current value is. So if I say if $SEC equals with a single equals sign 5, it will always be true because I have only put one equal sign, so I'm saying set it to 5.
Right.
So it will always be true. What we need to do here, okay, we already determined we don't want to be using strlen because that's the wrong thing to be doing. We actually want to use the value of $sec. So with that statement as it is, this again will always be true because SEC equals 2 means, hey, make SEC equal 2. I don't care what they said, it is going to be 2. You have just set that. What you're actually meaning to do here is equals equals. So what that means now is it changes the statement entirely. Now it says if $SEC, the value of that is exactly equal to the number 2, then echo this. Put it out on the screen. Else, echo no variable set, and it could be set, it could be 1 or it could be 5, right? That's the case. So there you go. So we fixed up your script. It's going to work now, and you can continue to go else if, and I would encourage you to take a look at switch case in PHP. Go to php.net, do a search for switch, and you're going to love that. It's along these lines. Else if $sec equals 1, echo, it's 1, right? So you could do that and do something for 1. There you go. Okay? And the reason I've used else if there is because we know it's not 2, so we don't need to do if, right? If I did it that way, then it's going to evaluate both expressions. So it's a little heavier on resources because if SEC equals 2, we know that it can't equal 1. So why evaluate this? Why use the system resources to do that? So we say else if. So we know it's not 2, so then check the next variable. There you go. I hope that helps. Watch it in slow motion. Watch it in slow motion.
Ooh, yeah, do it. Seriously, because you're Speedy Gonzalez over there.
I think, though, that if you follow along, and with the things that are coming out of my face hole, you'll maybe figure it out. I impart that information to you, Andrew. Enjoy it.
Okie doodle.
All right, I'm going to save that and I'll send it back to you. Send it back to you.
Perfect.
Okay.
That was a good question.
Do we have any real quick questions, or is that...
I can't believe the time is flying.
I know. How does this happen?
Every time.
Sasha says it's like the show could be, and people say in the chat room, the show could be 2 hours, but remember at the top of the show, how I was talking about bandwidth?
Here's what's funny, though, Robbie, is that you give us this sheet.
Yes.
Right? And like
Which
there's
is
like...
transparent. It makes you invisible. How cool is that?
But the interesting thing about this sheet is that there's like things that we can bring up if we, run short on things to say.
We have a section on our sheet called time fillers.
Right, which has never, since I started, ever happened.
The time fillers are actually from 1973. And we've just
We're waiting to
never
use
gotten
them.
around to them. Yeah, there you have it.
Well, it's a good problem to have, I'd say.
I think so. And that was fun. I hope that you learned something. We got to stop calling it Viewer Question Extravaganza, though. It's going to have to be just... We're going to cover some questions tonight. We're going to try to get through 3 of them.
We did 3. They were good questions.
Thank you so much for sending them in. Hillary, do you know how they can get questions to us? What's the best way to get those in?
Purulate them.
That's one way. No, that's how you send checks.
Oh, there you go.
Live at category5.tv. You can email us.
Yes, email us. Please do. Or even in the chat room. Sometimes people just pop up questions as they're doing it, or tweet them, or like send a video of yourself asking your question.
That would be
like
the best.
you could do anything.
Oh, we would love that. Oh.
I'm just coming up with then the cat phone. Cat phone.
Why Why won't you call me?
Just give us a ring-a-ling, guys.
Come on.
Take 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it. We're going to start getting calls right after we sign off. There you go. Our phone number's at the bottom of the website, but it's easy to remember. 2545 Cat 5 TV.
Love it.
We need a jingle.
That's on the to-do list.
2545 Cat 5 TV. It's a Texas number, so it's local to you if you are located in Texas.
Unfortunately, not everyone is in Texas.
Not everyone, but I know you're there.
You are there.
Check out map.cat5.tv. We know you exist. So thanks for tuning in.
Good show, guys. Good show.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Adam, for being here and doing the great work that you do on the camera. Thanks, Hill. Thanks, Sasha. Thanks to you at home as well. We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Category 5 TV broadcasts live from Barrie, Ontario, Canada every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're watching this on demand or through cable TV, check out the local showtimes in your area at category5.tv and find out when you can watch live and interact in the community chat room. Category 5 is a production of Prodigy Digital Solutions and is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 2.5 Canada. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.